Iran's uranium stockpiles, mostly declared heavily damaged and off-limits. Inspectors warn access is tricky, sanctions may be toothless, and oil cash keeps flowing from China and Russia. With 400 kilos of 60% enriched uranium still in play, the big question looms. Is the world watching, or is Tehran already playing its next move? Inspectors from the International Atomic Energy Agency do not believe Iran has stashed significant quantities of highly enriched uranium at secret, undisclosed locations. The agency's chief, Rafael Grossi, told Switzerland's Neue Zürcher Zeitung that the bulk of Tehran's nuclear stockpiles remain at declared facilities. The problem, however, is gaining access to verify what's actually there.
According to our information, the majority of this uranium remains in the nuclear facilities in Isfahan and Fordow, and some in Natanz.
The IAEA estimates that Iran currently possesses over 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60%, an amount that, if further refined, could be sufficient for several nuclear weapons. Grossi noted that these facilities suffered extensive damage during US and Israeli strikes in June, complicating future inspections.
However, the facilities there were bombed, they are massively damaged, and some are underground. Gaining access will require Iran's full cooperation. This will only happen if Iran sees it as a national interest.
While Tehran insists its nuclear program is peaceful, the agency's chief said concerns about Iran's potential weapons capability have not been fully dispelled. Grossi also urged renewed diplomatic engagement, arguing that dialogue could prevent further military confrontation.
We can't undo what happened. That force was used. But sitting down together at the table saves us the danger of another round of bombings and attacks. Concerns about the potential proliferation of nuclear weapons have not entirely disappeared. We are still faced with the question of what to do with the approximately 400 kilos of 60% enriched uranium that Iran still possesses.
Iran has yet to allow IAEA inspectors to resume regular monitoring since the June strikes, though Grossi noted that Tehran has not withdrawn from the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, leaving the door open, however narrowly, for future cooperation. Western powers have welcomed the return of UN sanctions on Iran, but analysts warn that without a coordinated international effort, Tehran may evade their full impact. Germany, Britain and France, signatories of the JCPOA, activated the 30-day trigger mechanism for the reinstatement of UN sanctions in a letter to the Security Council on September 26th. The measures include arms embargoes, diplomatic travel restrictions, asset freezes, and broad restrictions on Iran's nuclear program. Experts caution that the sanctions are unlikely to significantly affect Iranian oil sales, the nation's main source of revenue. China, a key ally, imports roughly 1.5 million barrels of Iranian oil daily, providing billions to support Tehran's military programs and overseas operations.
In September, exports reached about 2 million barrels per day. This does not indicate the success of the sanctions. The question now is whether the United States, with its new international legal framework, has the real will to implement a policy of maximum pressure.
US Energy Information Administration data shows exports totaled roughly 587 million barrels in 2024, up 11% from the previous year, generating more than $43 billion in revenue. The Washington Times also highlighted concerns that oil revenue could fund weapons purchases from Russia.
Russia thinks it can continue this war and bear the cost. So selling a lot of weapons to the Islamic Republic is not going to be a major concern for Europe compared to other issues.
Russia and China also stand with Tehran in asserting that UN sanctions on Iran have not been automatically reinstated, following the expiration of Security Council Resolution 2231 on October 18th.
The view of the Islamic Republic of Iran and countries such as Russia and China, which are permanent members of the Security Council, is that contrary to the position of the United States and some European countries, the snapback mechanism has not been triggered and Resolution 2231 has formally expired.
He emphasised that, contrary to the positions of the United States and some European countries, the resolution has formally expired.
With the resolution's expiration, all restrictions imposed by the Security Council on the Islamic Republic of Iran have been completely lifted, and the issue of Iran is no longer on the Council's agenda. More than 120 countries adopted this view in the final document of the Non-Aligned Movement Foreign Ministers meeting in Uganda. The Russian Federation, as a permanent member and the current president of the Security Council, has also issued an official statement rejecting the return to previous resolutions.
He also highlighted the strategic partnership between Tehran and Moscow, describing the 20-year cooperation agreement as a foundation for expanded ties across all fields. Russian UN envoy Mikhail Ulyanov confirmed that the Council has concluded consideration of the Iranian nuclear issue.
In accordance with Para 8 of Resolution 2231, the UN Security Council has concluded today the consideration of the Iranian nuclear issue and the item non-proliferation from now on is removed from the list of matters of which the Council is seized.
Arakchi tweeted that China, Iran and Russia view the E3 snapback attempt as legally flawed.
China, Iran and Russia affirm that the attempt by E3 to trigger the so-called snapback is, by default, legally and procedurally flawed. China, Iran and Russia affirm that in accordance with operative paragraph 8 of Resolution 2231, all its provisions are terminated after 18th October 2025.
The world now faces a dangerous divide over Iran's nuclear program. Western sanctions may prove toothless as Tehran continues pumping oil revenue with backing from Russia and China. Damaged facilities stay off limits to inspectors, leaving critical questions unanswered about Iran's true weapons capability.